Bada bing, just like that. We're live again in the studio, Studio 10-4 Live. JT here with you guys again. Got a great show coming up ahead of us. I want to get everybody in and make sure we get the conversation going today. Want to make sure everybody knows, hey, this is an interactive show, and the conversation that we're going to be having with the two guys that we've got on the show today, Bubba Branch and Kelvin Mozon, both, as I said in the show intro, happen to be in the same business at just at different ends of the country. One in Florida, one in California, and I want to share perspectives of what it is and what's going on in their worlds of trying to turn a profit as a trucker and doing what they do. Also, with Bubba, we've got Bubba who attended 75 Chrome show, and he was there to give us a little update on what was happening, show report, tell us what all the cool trucks that were there and some of the winners. And I guess they kind of narrowed it down to a two-winner field, so he'll explain that to us. Kelvin was with us, and quite a lineup he brought with him to Truckin For Kids this year. And I wished we'll have this conversation. I know he and I will, because we already had part of it. But you go to a truck show, and did you see any trucks? you gotta know what that means and understand the conversation a little bit. So I'll give you some of that. And both of our cases, we were so wrapped up in what we were doing, we didn't get to see everything we thought we could see or should see. And in my case, I saw Kelvin's trucks, and he had some bad rigs there at the Truckin For Kids show. I didn't get a chance to bring them on board and share with you guys. So we're going to do that in November. I guarantee it, as soon as we get everything wrapped up on our side of what that's going to look like for the 10-4 Trucker Rodeo coming up in November, first weekend of November. So what today's show is about? Well, I just keep thinking about it, and this just really hit me hard when I went down to California and traveled down there to Truckin For Kids. Price of gasoline. We're $1 cheaper up here at the minimum, $1 cheaper in Oregon than you guys in California. And excuse me, I've got some allergies that just all of a sudden popped up today, and I think it's because we got these tornado-like winds going on out here. Must be stirring up a bunch of dust. Anyway, gasoline, diesel. Gasoline was obscene enough at $5+ a gallon, $6 a gallon, call it. Diesel, oh my gosh, $6, $7 a gallon. Really? Are you freaking kidding me? For the shit they throw away that really used to be the garbage of the gasoline process. Yeah, well, anyway, not to mention, and this is probably a whole nother show, the tax part of what California gets for what they sell you is obscene too. And all that's going up as well. And it's going to continue to do that, because when I was still living in California, some real crafty bill writers put a bill together that basically gave California government the right to just do whatever they want over the taxpayers on the taxes paid on gasoline and diesel fuel, period. And there's a new hike coming real soon, California. And the bill writers, the way they wrote this thing, a yes was a no and a no was a yes. Okay. So everybody thinking they were voting no, well, they voted yes. And if you didn't read this thing, I'm telling you, and that's not the first time, and it won't be the last, if you do not read the bills, you're not going to vote correctly. I'm telling you, it looks one way, but it means another. And Kelvin, being a Californian, I'm sure he can attest to this as well. He's seeing it at his profit margin right now. So I want to say howdy to everybody. Pete Henderson, what's going on? Peter, good to have you. Always first in the show. James, what's going on? Jamie, good to have you on the show. Dan, the man, in the show. Jason, good to have you, man. Yeah, nice to have you on board. And Miss Shannon, of course. Eddie Staley, I haven't seen Eddie for a while, I think. Eddie, good to have you back. And thank you. Appreciate the comment there for Truckin For Kids. And Miss Jean, Asugi in the show, of course, co-creator, co-founder, 10-4 Magazine, current HR representative of all of us. And I don't know what that means, but it's what we've given her. And it works for us to keep us all out of trouble, I think. Oscar, good to have you on the show, buddy. Good to have you back. Again, what's going on and what does it take to turn a dollar in this world we live in now? I'm going to get some things out of the way so we can talk more with the guys about this, because I just, I say this all the time. Just because your wheels are turning doesn't mean you're making money. Just because you're running down the road doesn't mean you're making money. Just because you have a load on the back of your rig doesn't mean you're making money. There's a process, there's a formula, there's, how many trucks you have, how much it costs you to turn one truck 1 mile, how much does it cost you to get down the road, point A to point B, with or without a load. All these things factor in. And when us guys are out there bidding a job, and some of us have to bid jobs individually, we got to figure all that stuff out. We have to know that going in. Some of us might just have a flat out, hey, it's this much for me to run a mile, doesn't matter, empty loaded, this is what I'm going to get. If you don't want to pay it, go somewhere else. And listen, guys, you know what? That's kind of the attitude you need to have. You really do. Don't for a minute think that that's arrogant. It's not. It's what you need to stay in business. Find out what that is and stick to it. Don't sacrifice that. If you do, that's when you end up against the wall, the ropes, and out of business. And nobody wants to see you there. We want to see you all making money. So let's go to our guys. Bubba, first of all, feature story guy, been around a while, been a friend of 10-4 Magazine quite a while. Glad to have you back, Bubba. Unmute. There you go, man. What's happening, brother?
Man, good to see everybody. Thanks for having me, Big John. I appreciate it very much. Always a pleasure to talk with you guys.
Oh, it's always good to have you on here, man. It's one of my favorite guys out there in our world and guests on the show. I was looking back in the magazine here, and this will bring us back to a tear. There she is. There she is, right?
Yes, sir. One of the loves of my life, John.
Just a phase has been phased out.
Yes. Yep. She's still in existence. She's got her own little retirement home up there in a little, just north of Montgomery, Alabama. A boy by the name of John bought it from me about 8 months ago, and don't know if it's true, but I think he might be thinking about parting with her again. So you never know. You know,
I've seen these trucks make the rounds, and I don't know if it's like, okay, I had my fun and they move on, or what. I don't know, but that happens. It just does. But
I can share with you that that one there holds a special place in my heart. I mean, I was able to obtain several lifelong goals of mine with that truck, and it'll always be very special to me. I mean, old country boy out of Lakeland, Florida, I used to collect. Most guys would collect, pictures for their gym or their shop of some pretty women. I would collect truck pictures. And the Shell Rotella calendar was one of my dreams, and I couldn't believe it. And then to grace the cover of the Shell Rotella calendar for 2023 was probably one of the Incredibles. And then to make it in 10-4, I mean, I was truly blessed. I mean, it just feels like I'm every day I walk, I got that, the thing that you buy after the fact that the memorabilia piece that you put up. And the article is just incredible. And it's just one of the things that I'll just hold near and dear to my heart. So maybe the next one down the road, my goal is I've had a lot of people ask me, what's next? What's Bubba doing? Right now, we're just working. We're staying busy, John. We're growing the fleet out here in Florida. We've been truly blessed. But I would love to see something in the caliber of that truck, but maybe a little bit different scenario as far as, like maybe I don't know. You guys know my heart's is also in a 660. So maybe that might be the next one down the road,
Hey, what I want to see is I want to see Bubba on the cover, and that means you bringing something bitching back and making it happen for us, because, honestly, and I want you guys to think about this for a minute. You always, and I don't mean you, Bubba, I mean everybody.
Yes, sir.
You guys say we decide who goes on the cover. You know what? Nah, you guys decide who goes on the cover.
Yes, sir.
And it's by what you do, what you are, who you are, what you build. it's all about you, your truck, your story, the things that you bring to the table.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what makes it. And Bubba did not make it to the cover with Just a Phase, but that doesn't mean he came up short. That just means there's only 12 spots available a year,
That's right.
and
Yes, sir.
every feature is a cover truck. So just not all of them make it. And that truck was worthy. And Bubba, I got to say, you graduated with that truck. You really did.
That means a lot to me, John. That thing had a lot of that truck had a lot of heart and soul. There's a lot of character in that thing. There's a lot of blood, literally, sweat and tears from myself, my wife, my kids. Everybody knows the story. I won't bore them with it again, but it's incredible. Every time I look at the pictures, I have a lot of them. So thanks, David. I appreciate that. Threw me off with a sophisticated comment. I love you.
Like Howie Long on Fox Sports, man. He looks all smart and shit, right? Got glasses on. IQ went way up.
I was hoping somebody would say the chrome and the goat, but those days are getting better. Welcome to trucking. I'm only 17 years old. Look at me.
Yeah.
So
hey, I want to say something too here. This is such a great observation. Now, this guy's a buddy of mine. I go back. Him and his brother and I had known each other since we was little kids. I mean, little like kindergarten kids. And
Yes,
he's
sir.
the younger of the two. This is a guy who's not in trucking. In fact, this guy's a retired local law enforcement for down on the Monterey Peninsula. Great observation. I mean, look at what he said right there. Kind of funny. Your rigs have to have great tires for shitty roads in California. You know what? And that goes right along with how I opened this show, man. All that taxation that goes out of the fuel dollar, every dollar you spend. And listen, every dollar of fuel gets purchased in California has X amount federal tax, X amount state tax. Every truck that comes into California, this is for everybody outside the loop. Jeff, you're one of them. And because you're not in the biz, but there's a funny little thing called IFTA.
Yep.
And it's the International Fuel Tax Agreement.
Yes,
and
sir.
when you see that IFTA tag on a truck, it has to have it to travel interstate and intrastate so that it can get taxed for the miles that it travels across the roads in any state it goes in. And you have to, as an owner, file those miles and then you get charged for them.
Yep.
So it's not like we get the out-of-state guys buy a load of fuel, come into California, and don't have to pay the tax, the road tax. Guess what? They do. Okay. And we still can't fricking make the roads right. And let me tell you, my car took a beating traveling from Grants Pass, Oregon to Irwindale, California. Oh my gosh, man. I'm glad I got all new suspension on that car, but I think it aged about 5 years on the way down and back. So anyway, I get so upset about it. And when I was trucking, holy crap, man. I thought my truck was going to blow apart every time I went from a lift off the road to an overpass or, and I'm going down, I'm going across it. So I'm hitting it on the down and then I hit it on the uplift, which means where the elevation of the road changes because where they met the overpass with the new asphalt.
Right.
There's all of a sudden this lift elevation change and your truck hits it and it's like hitting a wall or a ton of bricks. And nothing's changed. They still haven't learned how to fricking do it right. So I don't know what the story is. I can't answer those questions, but all I can say is let's go back on track. Jamie, well said. Everything Bubba has achieved is deserved. And I gotta, I'm gonna jump off the I love you Bubba train here in a minute, but when we first met in Texas, you were in a plain white truck and it was nice, but oh man, you graduated with this one. So congratulations. Again,
I appreciate that, Big John. Means a lot. Thank you, Mr. Williams. It means a lot.
I do. And you just getting all kinds of compliments here, man. And very, very true. I described you to Kelvin. Kelvin can share that with you if he wants when we bring him in. But I described Kelvin to you. I said, you haven't met this guy, but let me tell you, man, you look at Bubba and you go, holy shit, gangster, biker, like the big badass dude, man. But you talk to Bubba and you find out, don't ever, ever, ever judge a book by its cover. He just likes doing things in the Bubba style, and it's a different way, and
Yes,
it's
sir.
cool. And you know what? Probably okay because it shakes off the ones that ain't got enough to come up and say howdy.
That's
So
true. I definitely beat to my own drum, if you will, John. I've always been that way. I like to do things that people say. I know it's going to be kind of cheesy, but to say the things that can't be done, that's the ones I like to achieve for. I like to shoot for the things that, a lot of what I like to call shade tree stuff out here in the yard. We do it. We do all the stuff ourselves, or most of it anyway. On Just a Phase, there were some things that the boys at SH helped me with. Mr. Smith is a genius up there, so he helped me out quite a bit. But we still did the work ourselves, all the way from the powder coating and the paint. It just won't get into it anymore. Won't bore everybody with it. But man, it was an honor to do the things I've done with it. There is some days. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be fibbing if I told you it wouldn't, but there's some days I think about it quite a bit. I look at a lot of pictures, and, a time or two I may have, had some raw onions in the truck with me a couple of times, but it was time. I knew I couldn't do both. I couldn't just have two trucks sitting around doing nothing. I mean, that's a goal. I hope to get there one day. I was not there then. So, moving forward, I think that's something I'm definitely shooting for on the next one too, is to do something maybe just a little bit out of the box. Whatever that is, I don't know. Is it red? Hopefully. My wife is shaking her head no. So there you go. We don't know.
Now we have an answer.
Pretty much. So
Thanks, Crystal, for keeping him on the right track there.
Yes, sir.
And boy, does she. Trust me, John, you said a lot of everybody that knows us well knows I couldn't do it without her. I would be lost. So
it takes a team, and it takes a village. So
yes,
Chad Violet chimed in. I hope you see that. And Chad, thanks, buddy, for chiming in.
Hey John, can I share something about Chad really fast, since I have, if you don't mind? So
go right ahead.
I was a little bit younger, and I watched Chad's, I guess it would say is the word, the way he evolved over the years.
Yep.
And so Chad was somebody that I thought was completely out of my league. I would never have a truck worthy for Chad to photograph. And when he approached me with that, and I got to say, that was another thing for me. I don't know. I'm just being honest. I thought, and Rob out of for Large Car, same thing. I thought, man, this is incredible. And then of course there's another one, and I can't leave her out, Stephanie, and she did the freak for me. And
you can mention Stephanie, but man, you mentioned another guy's publication. I'm a little thrown back by that.
I'm sorry, John. I know I caught myself, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
I saw you pumping the brakes.
But I'm sorry. But it was an honor. And Chad, what a class act, man. He does great work. And to have something that he even wanted to look at, I was like, man, I think I may have something here. So
I'll
thank you.
Tell you something. Chad, well deserved, and Bubby, you always give the love out there to these guys that deserve it. Chad's a guy that came from the industry. So when you come from it and you know it, and then you're doing what he does, which is photographing and recording it, that's something special. And I got to say something about Dan Lenz. And Dan didn't come from the industry, but it has become a part of his DNA, man.
Absolutely.
He knows more people and more trucks by name and recollection than I ever will. I mean, and you know what? I'm still going to fall back on I had COVID and it ruined my brain, but
me too, John.
Yeah, right. So we both knew more now than we do, but it is something special. And Chad, you do a great job, and of course can't say enough about Dan Lenz and our former co-founder Eric Steven. And
man, I still remember the day Big E called me for the freak, and I still remember the conversation. I remembered, and we talked several times afterwards, and never really got a chance to say it, but Big E changed my life that day. He really did, and I mean that. I mean, I think I went out back here out in my back pasture, and I spent about 20 minutes by myself. I'd be a liar if I didn't tell you I wiped away a few tears, and he told me, "Hey, big boy, grab yourself." It's real, So it just meant a lot to me, So
it does, and I can attest to it with you that yeah, that's a cool call to have. I had Dan and Eric both on the phone, letting me know it was my turn, and it was definitely life changing,
yep.
and a special moment that I'll always remember and always look back on. I want to bring in Kelvin before we do the 75 truck show, Chrome truck, 75 Chrome truck show report. There we go.
Yes, sir.
And I want to bring Kelvin in because he's sitting back there watching us, just going, "Man, these guys are all right." I think. Kelvin, how you doing, buddy?
How's it going,
Good,
guys?
How you
good,
doing,
good,
sir?
What's up, Mr.
good.
Bubba? Good to meet you.
Likewise,
Kelvin
brother.
comes
Thank
to us
you.
from Southern California, and he has a little history with 10-4 magazine, and I'm going to bring that up right now. Here's some of it. We're gonna take a little time trip back in the Wayback Machine, Kelvin.
Yeah,
Back
what year was
to
that? 2013, I think.
2013, my friend. And by the way, Bubba's article for Just a Phase happens to be to the month 3 years ago,
Yes, sir.
2021, right?
Yep.
Right, Bubba?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So any of y'all want to go in and check that out, it's there for you to look at. So, but here we are down in the front, in front of the forum, somewhere around the forum, with this freight shaker heavy haul truck set up, and back in 2013, which seems like forever ago, man, but it doesn't it? I mean, this seems weird, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah, a long time.
There's a nice shot of it too, and I mean, I was part of 10-4 magazine just because I was part of the cover family in 13, and Dan and I spoke all the time, and Eric every now and then when we'd see each other at the show. But what's that? Dan says it was a church when we were there. Meaning nobody was there. Yeah, right. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's what he means by that. Yeah. Which is funny. That place is still down there. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But in 13, I don't remember the truck and the story, but I'm going to have to go back now and look at it. I can bring us up to speed real quick though, and give you. Hey, wait a minute. You know what, man? Besides the goatee, you still pretty much looking the same there, man.
Pretty much, huh?
Yeah, I think so. Damn, Bubba, how the hell does he do it? And how'd we get screwed? I don't know, man.
I don't know, brother. It's in the genes. Just look at that stud.
Oh, nice shot. Dan always gets those lineups like that, man.
That's
And
beautiful, man. That is beautiful.
what year truck was this? I didn't read the story before the show. Tell us what year and what it was.
It's a 99. That's actually, and it's in the story. It was Old Dominion single axle truck when I bought it, and
Wow.
because of the nature of my work, I turned it into a 3-axle so I can pull an end up and a flatbed with it. Eventually, when I couldn't drive as much anymore, stretched it out again and made it a little wrecker here.
It's you kind of you committed a party foul. So California trucks, right? The most California truck, and I mean by description, by design, by vibe, feel, everything is a 2-axle truck. Has a steer axle, has a drive axle. So that in tech, and you know what's funny, Kelvin? I went around and I asked everybody at the show. It was, hey, is it a 2? Is it a 1? Is it a 3? And most everybody came up with the same answer. You count all axles. So 4-axle truck. Bubba, what you tell me? How many axles on that truck?
I see 4.
Yeah, there you go. So, but the California hay haulers have the distinction in my book of being the most California. They just brought that California 2-axle truck vibe
Yeah.
to the world that you just didn't get anywhere else. And
Yeah.
and you know what? And then you go and you expand from there. How
Yep.
many axles? How many? Yeah. And Jamie's saying I agree to disagree. You know what, Jamie? The East Coast, anything kind of east of, I think, like Colorado, we'll call it, has that same distinction. I talked to the guys at Matt's, and a lot of them don't count the steer axle, and a lot of them are from that region. So it depends on where you're from, I guess. Yet Bubba, Florida, he's going through 4. So I don't know. Anyway, looking good either way, as Dan says, and everybody's going to have their different opinion on that one. But let's get up to date, and here we are at Truckin For Kids 2024. You kind of came in a little bit with a few trucks there, buddy.
Yeah, I think we brought 8 or 9 trucks. I think we brought. I can't remember.
Awesome.
6, 7, 8. Looks like 9, man. Looks like you might have brought 9. So
It might have been 9. Yeah.
And let me tell you guys, I wished I would have gone over, and this is a conversation that Kelvin and I had. I wished I'd have gone over there and looked at his trucks more with the camera live. I did go over, I did look at the trucks, and I still don't, I just didn't get them in the live stream. But there's a but. Here's what I'll tell you. Y'all show up in November at the 10-4 Trucker Rodeo in Bakersfield, California, first weekend in November. And he'll be there, and we'll get him live to you, and we'll put something down into the record books that weekend. So absolutely outstanding showing of your equipment and what you've done since 2013. I mean, you had one truck. Now you got how many? How many you got now?
We just hit the 110 truck mark. Currently running 95, but a few of them are in.
Scrapper, huh, Bubba?
That's incredible, man.
It's been a crazy ride.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Congratulations,
yeah,
Kelvin. That's just freaking amazing. So
yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So and in California, no less. So
yeah,
it can be done.
Yeah.
I just, we're gonna ask how can it be done, and we'll talk more about Truckin For Kids here in a minute. Here's why I wanted to get you guys on the show, and just like I said, coincidentally, you guys are in both in the same business, just in different parts of the country, and so we can really go, apples to apples here. I mean, Kelvin, I'll let you go first. What's it take to make to turn a dollar in California right now, man? I mean, break it down as much as or as little as you want. Just,
It depends. I'm personally, I'm pretty close to the ports, Port of LA, Port of Long Beach. I don't do any port work or any port hauling, but that industry down there seemed to be a roller coaster over the last couple of years. During COVID, it seemed like the rates went up 200, 300, 400, 500%. And people thought those rates were sustainable. They turned out to not be. That's where you're currently seeing a lot of guys throwing the towels, because when the rates were, astronomical, everybody was making money. And not sure how they assess their side of the industry, right? If they were putting the bucks away, or if they were just out buying the fancy cars and the expensive vacations and all of that stuff. But I think that's really what it's about. It's you have to assess whatever industry you're in. Me personally, I'm the biggest believer of supply and demand. You need to know what industry you're going to get into. Trucking has a lot of little niches. I do all construction trucking. A lot of dump trailers, dump trucks, the low beds. And that's just my focus. A lot of good relationships. You got to be, I still believe in some old school business strategies where you do what you say you're going to do. It doesn't have to be in the contract. If I told you how much trouble,
yes.
Yeah. If I tell you my rate is my rate, it doesn't have to be in the email. If I tell you my trucks are going to show up, they're going to show up.
Yes.
So I'm old school in that manner. We can do business on a handshake, but the industry has evolved a lot. And it's evolved even more in California, I think, with the politics here, with how much power the unions have gained. I do a lot of public work, so got to deal with prevailing wage and regulations and certified payroll and the Department of Industrial Relations. We got to deal with a lot of stuff. So I just remember one piece of advice that a lawyer gave me, and he said, dude, you're not going to be able to change California. You're not going to be able to change the politics. You're not going to be able to change the work environment. So if you want to grow and you want to sustain, you need to adapt. And I think that's what we've done. We've adapted to everything that's been thrown our way. But yeah, it is very unfortunate. I read a lot of articles about the industry, locally, nationwide, and every other day you're hearing something that says, ABC company laying off 100 drivers, 150 drivers, 200 drivers.
Right.
And then you try to read into it a little bit, and some say bad management, some say the economy, some say a bad customer. You just never know. I mean, if you want to be in business, you really have to be in your business, be in it, be on it, and try to plan for the unplannable, try to anticipate the unpredictable. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Well,
Trucking's a tough business.
Recipes for success and disaster both include a lot of ingredients, and the ones for success, I think, is and the biggest one in my experience, I'll chime in on this too, is having look, money in the bank. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Bottom line, man, you better have your stuff in the bank so that when the crap hits the fan, you can bounce, let it do it and wipe it off and move on, because you don't know what's going to happen. And that could be the simplest of things, from a loader running into a tire and causing you, a service call and ends up being $1,000 plus the downtime that day, to, start adding in whatever can go wrong. But, Kelvin, you put a bunch of information out there that is, there's a lot of variables, man, a lot of variables, but break it down on the simplest of, components. Fuel, man. Are you guys doing surcharges, or how do you roll with that? And how do your customers, do they understand, or, tell me what that looks like?
Yeah, our contracts have surcharges. Right now, I would say we are at the point where we do charge a little bit of a premium, but it's a premium that we deliver upon. And I've been doing this now for 14 years. So I think we built a little track history where a customer says, this guy's a little more expensive, but I think he is going to come through and deliver on the promise. But right now, all the work we're doing, I think we're covered on our fuel surcharges. With what's coming, we have surcharges in our contracts. Not all customers respect it, but it just depends how you hold the line.
Yeah, I opened the show with this too. Your price is your price, period. You got to charge what you got to charge. And if you're in business and you stay in business because you did that, your customers are going to love you that much more. And if they balk at any time where you say, hey, I need to make this adjustment to continue to stay in business and serve you, they either jump on board with you and understand, or they try to fish it around and find somebody less. And then guess what? In my experience, they always come back. But Bubba, chime in here, man. It's your turn. I want you to give your view of it, and then we'll do a little interactive. I'd like to have you guys shoot back and forth at each other. Florida, and by the way, Kelvin, what are you seeing? Let's just say an average of diesel. What are you paying down there? And is it just you go to the pump anywhere, or you got a CFN thing, or do you have something you're paying in advance, or tell us about that?
So I do a lot of work in the metro LA area, and what we call the desert, just outside of Barstow. We got a lot of work going on out there. I think you could call it, I'm averaging like $5.25, $5.25 a gallon right now, between both of my operations.
Wow. And you know what? Here's the ugly part about that is that's cheap right now.
No, it's just I do on average right now we're doing 20,000 gallons of fuel a week. So you best believe you best believe we're looking
Wait
at
a minute, let me hit that bleep.
Sorry. Yeah, you better believe I'm looking at every penny. I see. We're looking at every penny when it comes to fuel.
Yeah, they won't shut us down, but we try to keep it a family channel. Don't feel bad. It happens, man. F-bombs get dropped. No, $5.25 a gallon right now. Believe it or not, that's on the lesser of the scale that I saw, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. Bubba, what's it looking like where you're at in Florida, man? Tell us what's happening there.
Well, Florida is Florida's booming right now. I mean, we have been for the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, we've been steady on the climb. I mean, some of the most moved to cities here are locally, Polk County, Pasco County, into Hillsborough County, which is Tampa, Orlando, Pasco will be Wesley Chapel area. So it's just booming and has been. It's like I said, it's just been going crazy for the last 5 or 6 years. Our diesel fuel prices here, we're averaging around $4 a gallon here. I have put some things in place to where we try to save, like Mr. Kelvin said, every penny helps. I mean, if you're saving 20 cent, over 50 gallons really ain't a big deal, but when you're doing it over 50,000 gallons, it's a big deal. So every penny counts. Everything I can do in house, we do in house. I still get out there every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes Sundays, sometimes Saturdays, some days both. I'll change oil, I'll grease trucks, I'll replace boards on trailers, anything I can do to save $1 to put the money, keep it in house is what I call it. That's what I'll do. We're not nowhere near on the level as Mr. Kelvin. So, we only have we're just a little 13 truck operation here in Central Florida.
Maybe the hurricane hit. Bubba, we lost you there, buddy. Come back to us. There you are. You back?
Yeah, I think something happened. Can you hear me?
Yep, got you back,
okay.
Man, 100%.
So one of the things that he touched on that I've been asked a lot, I mean, I probably get this question at least once or twice a week, and it's, what is the biggest thing with you? With me, it's relationships. I have built relationships over the last 28 years. And those are the relationships that I still use today. I mean, a lot of these guys, I've been moving their stuff for over 20 years. Started when I was a company man. They knew back then they could count on me. Some of the guys are in the chat here that I worked with 20 years ago. And they were with me. They were the guys that called me and said, hey, they want Bubba to do it. We'll wait till the weekend so Bubba can move it. So I believe in the customer service. I am old school with that. If I shake your hand and tell you this is my price, I'm going to honor it. If I screwed up and I made a mistake and it cost me money, guess what? I eat it. I don't go back to you and go, hey, I got to change this. No, because I'm going to make my money. We're not buying the trucks to let them sit in the yard to be lawn ornaments. Now, I hope to get to there one day. I can have a couple of lawn ornaments, and that's just what they are. Right now, we're not there. Not afraid to say that.
Make it back into the shop, and it'll be just there to look at. But
correct, and that's hopefully that's down the road. But right now we're not there. So, to keep everything moving, relationships. A lot of these young cats come up to me and say, "Hey, Bubba, what's the deal?" I say, "Man, you got to start with one. Just start with one. That's all you got to do. Just one." And then, now I have been very blessed. I haven't worked, and I don't mean this negatively to anybody that has or anybody that does, but personally, I don't do any work for brokers. I ain't worked for a broker in 25 years. So, actually I pulled one load for my buddy, Gary Jones, but Gary stood behind it and it worked out perfect. No bubbles, no trouble. So it's not a bad thing, but I've never understood the point of why do I got to let somebody else take a percentage of my money when I'm responsible for the insurance, the fuel. He has no dog in the fight. He's got nothing. He's making a phone call. Guess what? I'm your guy. I can call, I can talk to you. I can make you feel just as good as the next guy. And I'll be honest and I'll be truthful. And that is something that's carried me for the last 20 years. It really has. So those relationships I built there, I just carried them over into my own thing. And that's what I've always done. And so, but watching every dollar is literally the biggest issue. Everything from, when you hit overtime, the guys are working overtime, you got to watch it. And then you need to adjust accordingly. If your guy's working a Saturday or a Sunday and he's working overtime or he leaves out early, I mean, you have to account for that. You can't run that same rate. If you do, I'd like to know how you're doing it because, unless you're just not paying, it's really not rocket science. It's really just common math. You need to take in more than you're putting out. Well, it's just like, hey, John, I got a funny one for you. So when I wanted to lose weight, because I got this body of a god, I know you see it. So I'm being funny, of course. So I wanted to drop a few LBs. I said, well, hey, listen here, Tubby, you got to put out less than what you're taking in. That's it. I mean, that's just the way it works, so same thing with business. That's how that's just, I hate to sound so basic, but really that's what it is. But relationships. I can't preach it enough. Mr. Kelvin said it. Do what you say you're going to do. I'm very old school with that. So I believe in that. Some of the guys, like I said, that I've worked with for so long will tell you, hey, man, just call Bubba. When you call him, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Just call him, make the call, get it off your plate. You're done with it. You can move on to growing your business and doing something else. I'll take care of that for you. That's why you do pay the extra money. We are not the cheapest guy in town, John. We're not, and we're not ever going to be. I don't base it off of that. I sell service.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. You don't have to be. You don't want to be.
Sir. No, sir. But John, the old adage that surround yourself with good people too. There's some people in the chat, and I don't know if he wants to know that he works with me, but he's a good guy. I have Mr. Williams. We and him done a lot of business together. Stuff out in your neck of the woods, John. He went out there and picked up some stuff for me out there in Oregon, Eugene, and brought it back over here to Kentucky and the Carolinas. I mean, surround yourself with good people like that, and that's what has helped me over the years. Actually, another guy in the chat there, Jacob Bonham. Me and him's done business together. Great guy to work with. Those relationships that we've had over the years are just, I can't put a number value on them. They're just that strong in my relationship for keeping this business alive.
Well, there's a word out there that covers both of you guys and the folks that are chiming in, Jamie Williams, Jacob, if I'm missing anybody, I apologize. John Fureborn just jumped in here, but the guys that I'm mentioning and including in this group with you two, the recipe for success, integrity, man. That includes being honest, being, dependable, being the guy that they can call and get the job done. And Bubba, I'm going to dovetail in on that part of your conversation and what you were telling folks. And that's that if a customer can call you and know the job's done, they're going to call you every damn time.
Yes, sir.
That's it, yes, man. And that in our world, 10-4 magazine, Studio 10-4 Live, our world, we try to share that with folks, and I hope we do a good job. I think we do. But it's up to you guys then to deliver. And that's our circle of relationship. We believe in you, that you're going to do what you're telling us you can do. And you do.
Yes,
advertise with us. Now we're telling everybody else that picks up the magazine, these are the guys you want to know.
Absolutely.
And now it becomes full circle. Integrity has just been absolutely solidified between all of us that these are your guys. And,
yes, sir.
And your customers are going to share that over and over again. Go ahead, Bubba.
There's just I get fired up about it because I'm so passionate about it, and I want to tell everyone that's maybe starting out in the business, or maybe they've been in it a while and they just can't seem to get to that next. You have to set boundaries, because if you don't, I don't understand how some of these cats are out here running for the rates that they'll send me something and I'll go, no, I'm good, man. I don't say nothing negative, but I don't know how you're supposed to survive on that. Like, how do you pay your bills? I mean, how do you pay your fuel bill? And if you blow a tire, you're done. You didn't make $1. So you got to stick to what your worth is. So then they say, well, Bubba, how do you say no to that? Well, I just tell them, no, listen, I can't run that way. So if I'm not going to make money, we might as well not do it. So why are you doing it? Because I know you're not making money on it because I said no. So just hold yourself, because yes, you made enough money. The one I hear all the time that drives me insane is, well, I had to get fuel. I wanted to, at least it paid for my fuel back home. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? Why would you want to just pay for your fuel? When I get home, I want a pocket full of money when I get home. So, I mean, I would just tell them no. Listen, if you went home and you didn't make the money when you got home, why not just stick around another day or two till you can make the money? Listen, I'm not perfect at this by no means, but there's a couple other guys I'd love to throw. I mean, who I learned a lot from by listening and shutting up and listening to was Truckin Novosad. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I don't know if he's watching, but good friend of mine. Clint Dix out of Lake City, CDT Trucking, 120 trucks. Great people, man. Great people. I can name them. The list is so long, they're probably going to thump me in the head because I didn't say somebody. All the guys that have just kind of, but those were the guys that were showing trucks and doing things. John, these guys. These guys are legendary in the business. But you know what Truckin Novosad did for a truck driver out of Lakeland, Florida, one time at the Chrome Shop when he had a truck called High Cotton? You remember that truck, right, John?
You know what? I'm not thinking of it right now, but go ahead. My brain is Swiss cheese, man.
Okay, it was Truett. Listen, if anybody argues with this point, I'm sorry, but Truett was one of the OGs that made a heavy haul truck special. Period. So I saw him at the show one time. He came. I spent like 3 hours in the parking lot in 150-degree heat, and I asked him the same stupid 10 questions over and over again, 3 different ways, and he answered them for me every single time. He never got frustrated. He never turned his back on me. He never did. Do you know that one of the secrets to it is just talk to people. Just talk to them. I never leave my truck, John. I never leave my truck. I stay out there all day long. Somebody wants to talk to me. I don't care if you're picking up poop or if you're the CEO of Amazon. I don't care. I'll talk to you all day, all night long. And there's a lot of guys that do that. So I'm nobody special, but I'm just saying they want to know how. It's really right there in front of you. It really is. You know,
there's before Jason here said this and chimed in, it was sitting there. I wanted to get it out. Now I'm going to. There's no such thing as a backhaul. It does not exist.
Get it out of your vocabulary. Don't even talk about it. Listen to Jason. Jason, today I had a customer call. Hey, Bubba, what's a backhaul rate? I said, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have those. Listen, I've been doing business with him for 14 years. I said, his name is John, coincidentally. I said, John, I don't do that. That's not in my vocabulary. It costs the same money to run the truck one direction as it does the other.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'll just listen. If you're going to be honest with you, I'll just cut him off and bring him home if I have to. So I don't understand the backhaul thing. These guys are running these backhaul rates. What is that? How do you make it? I'm curious. I'd like to know.
Yeah. Well, and listen, I'm not going to lie. I succumbed to the backhaul bullshit back in the day when I was doing what I was doing, and we were looking to fill every void. That being said, I finally realized, there is no such thing as a backhaul rate. It costs the same. And I knew I was spending money doing what I was doing. I was just spending less of it. But that's not a winning philosophy, man. That doesn't get you ahead.
No,
the guy that you're hauling, whatever you're hauling for, is still getting paid the same. He's just trying to get you to do it cheaper, guys.
Yes, he is. That's the whole thing. Have you ever talked to one of these brokers and they go, hey man, I can get an extra $300 on it. Well, why didn't you give me that to begin with? You didn't have no skin in the game to begin with. You just made a phone call. I mean, if they were being honest and there was you want to regulate everything, how about putting some regulations on that? That's what you should do. Put some regulations where that's not where these guys are taking 40 and 50% of loads. It's incredible.
Dan says you're gonna have to wash all our mouths. Yeah, I don't know, man. Well, actually, no. Kelvin did start that, didn't he?
Oh, sorry.
Dan, I'm sorry. I think I've been very good, so we'll blame them too.
Hey, speaking of him, man, there he is, man. Gary, how you doing, brother? Good to have you. Love having Gary on the show. You guys bring a lot to the table here, wisdom and experience and knowledge, and been there, done that. I hope everybody out there that's watching now that needs to hear this is really listening. And then, of course, the ones who are going to hear it on the playback once this is over and posted on Facebook and on YouTube and of course on X, be it as it is X. You guys get what we're saying here, man. It's we're not preaching to you from a point of looking down on you, man. We're looking to you.
No way.
We want you all to understand this so you can win and be successful. I have always just been the guy that did what I did, how I did it, so that other people could look to it and go, hey, if he can do it, so can I. And that's how I was. I got an inspiration somewhere along the line, and I figured, you know what? There's a way to do this. I got to figure out how that guy did it, and then jump into that same mold and pattern and do it that way so that I can get to the point where I feel like I've finally have made it. I'm ahead. I'm successful. And
Yes,
oh man, this is a great industry. I mean, there's a lot that's wrong with it, but there's a lot still to be had that's good. And a lot of us bring that to the table. I'm glad you guys are part of that and able to do it. Did you guys have any questions for each other? Kelvin, do you have anything you want to ask Bubba?
No, I think Bubba's done a great job presenting his side of the story on the industry.
Awesome.
And likewise, Mr. Kelvin, thank you for your time, man. I really enjoyed being on the show with you. I just have, John, one other thing I'd like to add is that I as well am nobody. I don't want that to come across. I just love to share that people ask the questions. These are the same things I would tell them and have told them. And when they talk to me at a show or they want to talk to me about something or anything and they ask a question, it's just being honest. So I don't look down on anybody. I'm in no position to look down on anyone. I work 100 hours a week, just like everyone else. So, I don't think either one of us feel that way. I know I sure don't. I know Mr. Kelvin don't. So I'm not saying that. I just wanted to specify that for sure. Because I work for a living every day, put my pants on one leg at a time, and we still are trying to grow and do things differently. I hope to one day, Mr. Kelvin is a goal for me. That's a guy that I look up to in the industry to say, hey, and there's a list of them again. So if I'm not leaving anybody out, I just don't want to waste everybody's time for naming 100 people, but they all know who they are. And so I look up to those guys as well. And I hope that we can, Gary Jones, man, I'm going to thump him right in his noggin. But he's another one, good friend. Worked with him several times. We've traded freight back and forth, and I know his rates, which if you know Gary, they're huge, big rates, big money, high dollar, very rich guy. So sorry, Gary, I love you. I'm going to pay for that one, John. I'm just telling you.
I know that one. I know that's coming after the show.
Yeah. So, but anyway, no, seriously, John, thank you and Dan very much for having us on. And man, I just love it. I'm extremely passionate about this business. It's everything to me. I live it. I breathe it. I sleep it. It's probably what's going to kill me, John. So, but I do love it. And if I can ever help anyone, man, I'm an open book, and the people that know that. So, yeah. So I just want to say thank you to both of you.
I appreciate that, Bubba. Thank you. No, the thanks go to you. And knowledge is just something you cannot put a price tag on. So anytime you're ever in an opportunity when you can listen and get educated, guys, listen, do it. This is free. We don't charge nothing for this. And these are guys that are living the deal every day right now and work it every day. They do what they do. Like Bubba said, man, we're just regular guys.
Yeah.
You're the two in this show that are working every day like you do. I'm the guy who's just trying to help share it and get it out there. Kelvin, I want to go to you right now and give us kind of your take on TFK. That's Truckin For Kids. That for those of you that don't know, and James Williams. By the way, y'all know Jamie. At least I know Bubba does. And Kelvin, if you haven't met him yet, I hope you do and get the opportunity to. You get a compliment from Jamie. That's high praise. So
yeah,
right on.
Yeah, great gentleman and business owner operator
yes,
from out there in Missouri, and yeah, great guy. I just can't say enough. He has built some trucks that
extremely smart guy, John. Extremely smart. I have picked Mr. Williams' brain to the point of him. I thought he was going to call me a buzzard. But listen, if you want to be top of this, if you want to be top shelf, you got to pick the guys that got to the top shelf. So,
yeah, no, and that's it. It's like I'm gonna anybody here watch Getfield, and he's got that routine where the commentator says a sexist would say, there's just something about these guys in this business, and I had another direction I was going to go, but the ones that are out there that are successful, it seems like, again, there's an underlying, common denominator, and one of them is integrity. That's right there. But your processes and how you get to where you got to go to win and be successful, there's a lot of commonality in you guys, and I think plenty more out there that are doing it to make it happen. TW, what is happening, buddy? Glad to have you on the show. I know we're going to run out of time, but we're going to go over a little bit. Just everybody hang in there with us today. I wanted to get one more thing out on the business model formula, and you guys can each answer this on your own to us, to the audience. There's a process that you have to go through, whether it's 1, 10, 100 trucks, and is there a magic number? Have you ever heard that? The guys used to ask me, what's the magic number? Well, for me, the most I ever had was 5 at a time, and they were making money. 1 was making money. 2 Yeah, 3. Yeah, we started kind of seeing it. It's weird how that works out. Do you guys see any of that in what you do? Or you and I probably know the answer to this, but I'm gonna let you answer it. Are you building to increase the herd because that's what you want to do, or is it to service your customers? Bubba, go ahead.
Personally, I'm looking toward building for the customers. So I'm always expanding my customer base. I never sleep on the customers ever. So I'm constantly. But as you grow, or as we grow, so does the infrastructure of your company. So which requires to continue to put out more money. So if I've taken on, say, a salesman position. Now he doesn't work the way that I work, so I'm training him to talk like me because I know what works. I can tell you what works up to this point. I can't tell you anything beyond that, but we're going to go with what I know works. And if someone doesn't buy on to the system, then you can't be part of the system. This is kind of like a dictatorship here to a certain degree, because yes, you have to be a bit of a control freak. Ask the guy that's on ask Mr. Kelvin. You have to be a bit of a control freak to be able to do this, and a little bit crazy. So, and that's how. So I want to build to service the customers. I've currently moved out of Florida. We are in Georgia now, and we got a place up in Alabama that we're working on, and we're going to move into that too, up around Dothan area and stuff like that. That's where I was up there last week for 4 days. I have customers in Dothan, so I'm going to work hard onto that to expand those so that then I can build that. But I'm trying to build something for my guys as guys and my guys as family. That's what I want. There's guys in the chat that work for me, and they've been with me a long time. But you can ask them. I tell them, I don't see you driving a truck for me in the next 15 years. That's not what I want. Well, what do you deem a success? Well, right now, I just deem us being able to go to work every day and draw a nice paycheck every week. That's a success right now. Depending on, of course, where you got to figure where the economy's headed. Yeah. We're at election year, John. There's all kinds of stuff up in the air. Some companies are holding back right now. They're not going out and purchasing those big equipment purchases that 2 years ago they were just laying down the money for. Some of the building is still growing here around us, which is what drives our economy. Well, building, housing, it pretty much drives the country, right? I mean, that's pretty much cars and building. So we're watching that pretty closely. And so my answer to that is that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to build the service to customers. As my customer base increases, so do we. And then amongst that, some days are a lot busier than others, but that's where you get people you can trust, i.e. Jamie Williams, Lou DiBardini for me, there's Gary Jones, Jacob Vaughn. There's those guys you can trust. Those are the guys you call upon. Brewington Towing out of Plants. I mean, there's a few, and those are the ones that you hold near and dear because those are the ones that you can trust to move with you and not try to snake you. That's the way it goes. Because I heard Mr. Kelvin say the word contracts. Listen, the only contract I have is this right here. That's it. That's the only contract I have, and what we produce. That's it. That's all we do. And people can't get that. It blows their mind. Man, I cannot believe you're running this many trucks, which ain't that many, but you're running 13 trucks on just your word. Yes, sir. And I plan on wanting to do, 25 trucks. So what's the magic number, John? That's the question, right? Yep. Honestly, I can tell you that as far along as the guy that I'm in business with asked me, Bubba, what is your goal? I said, I really don't have a goal as far as number of trucks. I have a goal as far as a number, whether it's a $10 million company or $20 million company. That may be something that I'm trying to attain, but it's getting there. That's what drives me. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me basically unhappy. I'm not unhappy, but you know what I'm saying? It fuels that fire for me. Yeah. It's crossing that line. It's going to that next level, that next step. So we are currently at a level where do we go to the next level or do we go down a little bit? I mean, that's kind of where we're at because I'm in the middle of having to. Yeah. So, but I also don't want to jump out there and, do something crazy. And then, and by the end of the year, the economy falls. Right now, we would be fine. John, you spoke about it in the beginning of the show. Hold on to your money. Well, equipment's paid for, things of this nature. Everything's at a good, set still. So now you got to figure out what is the next step. Well, the magic number for me might not be the magic number for Mr. Kelvin. I mean, clearly he's got triple of what we do. So, or more than that. I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't know that anybody knows. I talk to guys that have 50, 60 trucks and they say, man, I want to go back down to 20. or you know what I'm saying? Or they say,
Yeah, Kelvin's shaking his head going, yep, I get it.
yeah. So, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but or trying to avoid the question, but it does matter. It matters as to, what you're trying to achieve, and only the person that's dealing with it knows what they're trying to do,
Yeah. Kelvin, it's the same question. Are you building your fleet because there's a number, there's a goal there, or is it because you're doing what you need to accommodate your customers? What's the answer?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say thanks to Henry right there with the message. It's kind of
Oh
funny,
yeah.
had me laughing. Our company motto is "We truck it all," and when I started, my vision was and still is to be able to service a contractor or a construction customer from the time he starts the job to the time he ends the job. So our trucking is very diverse. Now, when I started in the business, my goal was to have 10 trucks and I was going to be a happy man. What happened to that? I have no idea.
Yeah, he kind of blew that out of the water.
Yeah, what ends up happening now, it's I've surrounded myself with a team of people that I call them crazy, just the way I am, right? Like, what do we keep chasing next? More customers, more service area, further out jobs, and right now I'm surrounded by a few key people that say just keep going. What's the magic number? For us, I don't know right now. I don't know, but like Mr. Bubba said, the more you add, you have to make sure your infrastructure is there. This year actually has been pretty crazy for us in the sense that I hired people that I never thought I'd have to hire before. I have a HR person now. I have a safety manager, and I'm like, holy smokes, that's crazy, right? Like I never thought I'd have to do that. I always thought, I'd handle all my own claims processes and all of this and all of that. But it gets to a point where you have to have somebody in place for that because, you're out there trying to land a deal. You're out there helping your shop with the maintenance. And the moment you turn your back on something goes wrong. So you have to have all the people in place to handle everything right. But right now, we're growing to service our customers. And that magic number conversation, I've had it with a bunch of guys. I've had it with, truckers that have 50 trucks, 100 trucks, even 300 trucks. And I'll tell you the funniest one guy one time told me, you know what, Kelvin, my sweet spot is 300. And I said, 300 what? And he says, 300 trucks. And I'm like, wow. He said, I pushed to, he told me, and I found it so interesting because he said, I pushed it to 330 one year. And at 330, I wasn't making money. And I said, that's so interesting because you figure somebody like that has it so dialed in, but yet they said my magic number is 300. I was like, wow. And I was blown away. That's very impressive.
Wow, that is impressive.
Trucks running, and he's from California too. So he's running 300 trucks in California.
Wow. That is impressive.
Yeah.
So I mean, there it is. There's the testimony to it that there is a magic number. It may not be yours, but it could be his, and everybody's going to have a different one. And it all kind of goes back full circle here, guys. And that is, to the audience out there and those that will be watching this later, figure out what it is that works for you. Don't do back hauls. Back hauls do not exist. Your rate is what your rate is, coming and going. Business expenses change, and that can affect what it is you need to charge. But stick to what it is you quoted and charge it. And if you lose on that one, then you get it next time. You're going to be in the right spot. Just make sure you learn from that one where you lost. Get ahead of it next time. Fuel surcharges, all the things that are out there now that you need to do to stay profitable. Bottom line, when you go somewhere and you buy dinner and you look at the menu and you go, holy hell, what happened here? And it happens every stinking time you go out, right?
Yep.
Bottom line is, you know what? If you liked what you had, pay it, be glad about it, know they're going to be there tomorrow, and you can come back and get a great meal again. Same thing with our guys right here, with Kelvin and Bubba and others like them. Plenty of them in the audience tonight. If you're going to stick around and service people and they know they can count on you, you're going to charge what you got to charge. They know they got to pay it, and that's it. Bottom line, the relationship's established. It's there. We know what we're doing. Everybody knows what they're doing and what to expect. So I want to get out and I want to do it in kind of quick shape here. I know Kelvin can help me with that because in our conversation, he had the same dilemma I did at Truckin For Kids. We neither of us got to see all the show, but give me your take on TFK.
Yeah, always a great show. Shout out to the 10-4 family. It's always a great show. What I told John when we were on the phone earlier is I probably saw half the show. My plan going into the show, I had my son there with me. I thought we were going to walk the show and check out all the trucks. That didn't happen. It's by the time you get set up and you have your guys wiping down and lining up, and then people just start coming up to you, hey, Kelvin this, hey, Kelvin that, question here, question there. Let's have a drink. How are you? Long time. So, I mean, the night show went by pretty fast. The next day, by the time we started grilling and it was lunchtime, and then it was the drag races, and we went to the drag races and it was hot. So by that, you're like, oh, let me go chill out in the RV for a little bit. And next thing you know, it's 4 or 5 o'clock and Sunday was gone in the breeze. So
yeah,
thanks for steering Rush Truck Centers. Absolutely. You got it, Mr. Dan.
Yeah. No, that sums it up. And go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah. I just ain't reading Mr. Dan's message there.
Yeah, I put that up there to get that out there. I want to shout out to Rush Truck Centers for
Absolutely.
coming on as a TFK sponsor. We appreciate you guys, as we do all the sponsors that jumped in this year, which couldn't do it without you guys and the kids. This is all about them and getting a little bit of help there if we can offer it, make some money to help that happen. That's what Truckin For Kids is all about every year. So I'm looking forward to November, Kelvin, and seeing you up in Bakersfield, California, and bringing what you bring up there and what we end up doing in the truck rodeo, which we still haven't decided yet what all that's going to mean to everybody. But I can give you just a quick vision of what I'd like for it to be, and I think we're all on the same page. I'd like to see this thing become a destination competition that people across the nation are like, oh, 10-4 magazine truck rodeos going on in November, and guys are coming out. They're coming out to compete and win. And this is going to be exciting because it's not just going to be, hey, Kelly's in the show. Good to have you, Kelly. This is going to be truck rodeo, old school, old style. This is going to be show and shine. This is going to be, maybe there's going to be some racing. Yeah, there's going to be. We just haven't decided what it's going to be yet. Burnout contest. Love to do another one of those. Love seeing guys throw tires away on the back of a truck somehow while they go up and smoke. I mean, there's nothing crazier and cooler than that. So look forward to seeing you there, Kelvin, and appreciate you being able to take the time here and hang with us today. You want to stick around, go right ahead. I'm gonna shift over to Bubba. We're going to talk a little bit about 75 Chrome show that happened the same weekend that we had, Truckin For Kids. Bubba, tell us about it.
Yes, sir. Man, I tell you what, John, I appreciate you letting me come on here again and to talk about the show. And this is on behalf of the Farkas family. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the show. It was another great turnout. We had a record crowd this year again, even bigger than last year over the 3 days. And it was just incredible. We had 180 trucks at the show, and it was we had more register, but some guys just got hung up and couldn't make it. A couple of buddies of mine got hung out in California waiting on cranes and stuff like that. Things just happen. But it was a great show. We had Mr. Cody Warner out of West Virginia. He won the Prime Shine Award, which is the award that the Chrome Shop staff and family decide that they pick the truck. That's their decision. And then People's Choice, which is a really great award to win. But that was by the truck American Dream, built by Dickerson Custom Truck, which we all know those guys are great guys for the Hartman Farms. And what a great event it was, man. It was just, and then of course they draw for calendar spots. I apologize that I don't know all the 12 calendar spots that the guys made it, but man, what a field of trucks that we had there. You can see the picture, but again, it was just incredible. I mean, the weather was great, a little hot during the day, but it's Florida. But the night show, John showing right there on the picture, it was just a great event, man. We really had a good time, and can't thank everybody enough for supporting this family. We've we lost some people that was near and dear to our hearts. Mr. Farkas, who passed away. This was the first show without him. Mr. Billy, we love you. Miss him dearly. So that was a kind of a tough go, but you know what? He was with us. Sean was with us too. So it was a good event, man. It was really nice. The people were fantastic. And just can't say thank you enough to all the drivers all across. We had trucks from all across the country make it out. So for this show, it's geared as it's like my Super Bowl, if you will. It's my home. It's right here in my home backyard. So I've been supporting.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I've been supporting the Farkas family. I've known them since I was a child, and they're just great people. But they treat me the same way they treat everyone else, and they're just hardworking people. So thank you guys for coming out. Everyone that came out and supported the show, and it was a great show, man. The trucks were incredible. So,
well, I'd like to say, we'll have to figure out some way across the board. And I don't mean just between 75 Chrome and Truckin For Kids. We'll have to figure out some way to make sure we all get a pre-show, event year meeting that we can all kind of go, hey, let's not overlap on each other and figure out how we can make it work. So
yes,
everybody has an opportunity. Cause I know there was guys at 75 that would have liked to have been at our show and probably vice versa. And,
yes, sir.
and I want to shout out again to all the guys that couldn't make it because of unforeseen whatever happened, man. That's trucking, from engines blowing to loads needing to be hauled, and, on and on and on, man. I'll tell you, and I know that had to be the same case back in 75 Chrome and Wildwood, Florida, but same in Truckin For Kids there in Irwindale. We had plenty of folks that we would have loved to have had been there that just at the last minute couldn't make it. So it is trucking. It is, you never know. And one of the things I think I wanted to say too, Bubba, in that formula of, what makes a successful day or week or whatever, the other part is getting home. So you gotta, go out there, make your money and get home. And
yes,
that's,
sir.
Reap the benefits of your work and your time away from your family to, to make it all work out. And Dan says, that we're all trying to tweak our dates to accommodate better. And that's good because, that would really be an awesome opportunity for everybody to be wherever it is they want to be at, whatever end of the country.
Absolutely.
We'd like to see everybody out at Truckin For Kids, as well as, when you guys got it, you got as much room as you can fit in there. It looks pretty darn full. Looks like you might have a little bit of space left in there, but it looks pretty darn full. So that's a success, man. You filled up all the spots. And
yes, sir.
A lot of great folks.
It was a great time, like I said, and we had new parking this year, which I thought was great. I talked to John about that a little bit earlier. David and them did a great job. The new parking seemed to be great because there wasn't a bad seat in the house. There was no front row. Everybody had front row, so it was actually very nice. You could see all the combos better. You could take pictures better. I just thought they really put a lot of effort into it, and they really did a great job. And I mean, the response that I was getting from the people that was there was great. And so, like I said, man, and hey, John, how incredible is this industry that we get to call ours? I mean, these guys are literally the guys that are literally keeping the country alive. They're the ones that's literally pumping the country while we're every day. They are the backbone of the country, and this is what we get to call ours, man. I'm just so blessed. I truly feel that way. So again, thank you to everybody, not just the guys that made it to the show, but the guys that were still up and down I-75 that whole weekend that were keeping the country going. Thank you. And I truly mean that.
Absolutely. Guys, I want you to hang after I close the show, and we'll just have a quick little after show with the three of us. And what's Jamie saying? You're on the West Coast. It's like 6. Come on, man. All right, and that's it, Jamie. I promise you, we're closing right now. I want to say thanks to both of you guys for taking the time out and being able to be here with us on Studio 10-4 Live Weekly Update. Everybody that tuned in, everybody that watches on the playback, I appreciate you guys, all of you that tune in and do that. Without you, we can't have the show. Sponsors, we're always looking for them. If you guys have a business, a product, a service out there and you want to get in on making this happen and help to have it help make us a little bit of money, which, hey, I'm all for that. Please get a hold of me, John at 104magazine.com, and we'll do that for you. A lot of great stuff here, guys, and it's all available to you anytime you want to re-listen. You can check it out on our Facebook, on our YouTube, and on our X, Twitter, as they call it now. Always available, and that's with every show too. So appreciate y'all who tuned in. Thank you. As always, keep the shiny side up, guys. One thing to say about November and the show in November for 10-4 Magazine Truck Rodeo. We haven't got all that figured out yet, what it's going to be. We don't even have a logo, I don't think, unless Dan's holding out on me. So we'll get all that stuff figured out. And as we start developing it, which we're going to do here this week and next week, we'll get that out to y'all real soon and have a better vision, clearer vision of what it's going to be like and share that with y'all. So thanks again for all you tuning in, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys very much.
All right. Jamie, we're
Shout out to
signing
the
out.
Velasquez brothers on the chat too.
Say that again, Kelvin.
Oh yeah, the Velasquez brothers were giving me a shout out. So shout out to the Velasquez brothers. They put the burnouts on the drags every year at the Truckin For Kids show.
Oh yeah. Always appreciate you guys. And thanks y'all from YouTube, man. Abner, thanks for tuning in. All right, y'all, take care. We'll see you next week.